show, Sports Hip Hop, DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio, goes by the name of Leslie. Leslie, what's going on, man?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Congratulations on everything that you're achieving thus far. Good things take time. I know that's one of your recent EPs that you just dropped this year. So, how's your day going? How's everything going?
So far, I actually woke up and I felt a bit funny. So yeah, I've been trying to my throat has been itching a little bit, but apart from that, everything has been good. How
Oh
about you?
no, I hope everything's good because I know we have the pandemic going on out here. So I hope it's not COVID.
No, no, it's definitely not COVID. Definitely not COVID.
Oh man, but how have you been musically lately? How's your mind space? How's everything going creatively?
So far so good. It's been a beautiful journey so far. So for the past 2 months, it's been kind of a restart to my career. So I've been doing music for about 4 or 5 years, but this year was a rebirth of my persona. So I used to go by Kevin Pfeifer, and now
That's right.
I go by Leslie, and now it's very interesting and very it's been very interesting to see the new transition, to see the new fans, how people are adapting to the new sound and the new music. Yeah.
What was the reason for the name change and why did you choose the new name Leslie?
Um, I'll say the 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 reason for the change was particularly to branch off of my old town. My old town was more of a discovery phase in which I was discovering what I was good at, what I wanted to talk about in my music and all that. But transitioning to Leslie, it's more of a okay, this is my zone. This is what I like to do. This is what I want people to hear from me. And the reason why I chose Leslie is because my first name is actually Leslie, and I just added the accent on the second E to just spice it up a little bit. Yeah.
I think you're gonna go further because I feel as though you're trying to rebrand yourself, and like you said, you're trying to see how the fans are gonna interact with you. But you're moving forward this year. Were there people in your camp? Because I know you're connected with Grunge Cake. Was there people that you
Yeah.
talked to before you made the name change? Because that's a big step in it, changing something for your career.
Yeah. So I talked. I before I actually, the name change was actually made before I collaborated with Gretzky. So I remember when I was when I was recording the EP and we were at the video shoot for the single Spiritual. Um, we felt like we had to make a name change, particularly because the sound had changed, but also because um my previous name wasn't as Googleable as this new name change. Because if you had searched that previous name, which was Kevin Pfeiffer, you go and find a whole bunch of people that had that name. And so the reason for that name change was because of so many reasons. But yeah, yeah.
Mhm. I want to take it all the way back to the beginning so people can get a background about yourself. Tell me about where you grew up and how your musical influences started to begin, in which you took this career in music and becoming a singer.
Okay, so I grew up in Ghana. I'm a Ghanaian man, and my musical influences began um, from listening to the music that my parents used to listen to. So my parents used to listen to a whole variety of music. They listened to our local music in Ghana, but they also listened to reggae and R&B and hip hop on a minor scale, but most often than not, it was R&B and reggae. And so this is where my interest for music began, and it really shot up when my dad showed me Michael Jackson and his catalog. And so when I got introduced to Michael Jackson and his discography and who he was as a star, I was I was very fascinated. And I think that was when I really told myself that I wanted to be an artist. And so my interest for music started from there. And then it still kept going, although my parents wanted me to be more in the more focused on the academic route. And it never died down until even as I progressed to through high school, through college. I always had in the back of my mind that when I'm done with all this school stuff, even if I get a job, I'll still pursue the music. And it actually took me a while to take that bold step, and I did a couple of years ago. And so far, it's been a very interesting journey to see that my music actually makes an impact and people actually feel it. Yeah, and that's my main goal for music, to make music that people feel, because it was like from my first introduction of music. seeing how my parents, people that I look up to, were feeling like music that they love so much. I want to have that effect on others with my art.
Good things take time. Now, with everything you described in your life story so far and what you're going through, is that why you chose to name your recent EP that title?
Yes, the reason why I chose that title is because as an independent artist, I know all my independent artists can relate to this. Um, when you begin navigating the music journey, you quickly realize that it's not very straightforward, and you quickly realize that the promotional side and the marketing side and you putting yourself out there is significantly the main challenge. And so, good things take time was just a reaffirmation for myself, and not just myself, but those who had been following me, who have been following me throughout the years, that will actually get to the dream goal of actually making a bigger impact that we already have. And so, yeah, that's why I named it the EP. Good things take time.
What do you think has been the biggest barrier that you faced so far in getting into the industry? Because you went to school, so you're right out of school, so I understand that. I can relate to that just coming out of college. What would you say is the
Mhm.
biggest barrier that you faced thus far in trying to break through the industry? Is it getting played on the radio, making connections? What would you say it is?
Um, I was Before I ever put out my first song. My the biggest barrier was um, mastering the confidence to put myself out there. And so, that was the first barrier. And after that happened, and I put my music out there, it quickly became navigating how to be in front of everyone. And so that has gotten me interested in things like Facebook ads and radio, like finding out who is responsible for playing radio. If I make a music video, how does it get on TV? All those things. Like, yeah. And so I'll say, if I have to be specific, well, not specific, but it's basically figuring out how to be in front of everyone's face. Yeah. That's been the main challenge. Yeah.
And social media can help out on that front as well. But when did you start really
Yeah.
networking and digging deep here after college and connecting with Grunge Cake?
Yeah, come again. All right.
When did you really start to network with your music after building that confidence and connecting with people from Grunge Cake and on?
So, my networking experience quickly began when I started I started paying attention to other people that were making the same music as me, and other producers and engineers, because I wanted to not just collaborate but also learn from other people that have more years than I do. And in terms of networking, even with Gunscape, it's I don't know if Richard Dean, the president of Gunscape, has ever told you, but meeting her was just a very beautiful coincidence in which we were going to a music festival called Afro Nation in Puerto Rico, and it was we were both looking for Ubers at the same time at the same place, and we couldn't find an Uber, and we quickly got associated with each other, and she got to know about my music journey, and I got to know about her experience and publicizing artists not just in the states but artists from back home in my country. And so, that is how that's transitioned to the networking world in that aspect.
Tell me about when you came to the States, because I know that I read in your bio that you've been to America as well.
Yeah, I'm actually currently in the States right
You're in the
now.
States right now.
I moved to the States almost 10 years ago. Um, and I came here to study IT at Syracuse University. Um, and that was there 2013, and I was there for about 4 years. And then and during that process, I was still I was still a performer, but I was more of a dancer because I was very much the confident dancer. But I didn't want to put myself out there as an artist yet. But I was still observing other musicians that were doing their thing on campus and all of that. Because in my head, I was telling myself, one day I'm gonna do what you're gonna do. But I was trying to master up the confidence to put myself out there eventually. Yeah.
Would you say for other artists out there and just what the experience that you've had so far and getting your music out there and getting your footing, would you say that people should make a move for their music career if they're either outside the states or even if they're in the states and something isn't going right in their own state, home state that they live in? Do you recommend them moving out and trying to pursue something further in another place if it isn't working in their hometown?
I would say, the thing about technology is things are very like interesting. For example, right now I'm currently in Seattle, Washington. And when I came here for the first time, I didn't really know that there was an African community. I I was aware that there was, but I didn't know that it will be as many people as I've come to encounter. And so nowadays with modern technology, if as an independent artist, you can quickly find out which the kind of people that listen to your genre of music easily by going through on social media or even Facebook advertisement. If you use targeting and you can easily figure out, okay, maybe I'm in a city that isn't a music town, but I can quickly grow up my fan base here by, okay, I can tell that, okay, maybe 10,000 people are here. So let me start building up a fan base little by little. Let me do open mics. Let me put myself out there and see how it goes. Because thankfully in the modern age of social media, you can quickly grow your fan base one by one. And it takes building that that community by garnering one person by one person by one person. And eventually, you never know how it can go. But I'll also say that artists should in the future, in terms of longevity, you don't want to have regrets in the future because sometimes pursuing this business is very daunting sometimes. And what keeps me going is knowing that when I'm older, I don't want to look back and regret not taking that chance. And so if things seem too daunting, I think having that thought can smack you back into reality and make you and motivate you into making the next possible steps. Yeah.
And I think that was well said right there, and important advice that you gave to the audience. I want to get into your artistic style because you're someone that brings Afro beats to R&B, and that's unique in
Mhm.
nowadays. And has there been anyone that's told you that what makes you different and separates you from all the other artists out here right now in R&B?
Yeah, a lot of people. I think the world is quickly discovering that Afrobeats isn't this one-dimensional type of music in which is fast-paced. It makes you want to dance. It's happy music all the time. Afrobeats is a giant tree, and it has many branches. And so far, Afro R&B is has been growing exceptionally because even if people pay attention to some of the hits
Mhm.
that in the mainstream in America, if you really listen to it, it's really Afro R&B because Essence that took off last year. Essence, I would say Essence is an Afro R&B record. They did Wizkid and Thames didn't even really speak their local languages. It was very the cadences were very R&B-ish, but the production was African. Yeah, and so I think how Afro R&B has taken over the American mainstream has made it easier for artists like me to even put my chest out and know that okay, I can actually do this in the States and it can go really far. Yeah.
Are you currently looking for a deal with a record label? Have you had any talks with any yet?
Um Currently I won't say I'm actively um looking towards a label. I'm putting a lot of my effort into perfecting my craft and growing my fan base independently. And God willing, if labels approach with any deals, that'll be fantastic. But I don't put myself in the position of trying to gain that attention from label heads because sometimes it can distract you from doing the job, doing the work that you are supposed to do as an artist. And so I have this tunnel vision in which I'm trying to find the people that can vibe to my music and um, grow gradually. And I know that eventually things will pick up.
Absolutely. It's going to happen soon. What are some things that you're working on this year? Because I know you got the new name, Leslie. So you're expanding your
Mhm.
brand, getting your audience up, getting your numbers up, getting more music out there. What are some things otherwise that I may have mentioned there that you're working on for 2022 to take the next step?
Okay, so 2022. At the moment, I'm working on a second EP that will be dropped. Hopefully at the end of summer, and 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 I'm also trying to make collaborations happen with different artists that sound just like me, but and I'm a fan of their work. And so right now I'm working on collaborations and a second EP for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Who are some artists when you get the opportunity and you start really linking up here? Who are some artists you're interested in working with? It can even be dream collaborations.
Um. I know I know a good friend of mine. He's based on the East Coast. He's called Sano. He's basically an Afro R&B artist. He's someone that I really want to make music with. And I any dream collaborations, I would say my biggest dream collaboration is with Chris Brown. Yeah,
Chris
I'm a
Brown.
huge Breezy fan, and yeah, and I know he has a new album coming, so I'm very excited to listen to that. But yeah, the biggest dream collaboration will be with Breezy. Yeah.
What is it about Chris Brown? Because you're a big fan. What is it about it when you listen to his vocals, his artistic style? What is it that appeals to you that you're such a big fan of his music?
The biggest appeal of Chris Brown is his performance, or I just I think I'm naturally drawn to performers because I already mentioned that Michael Jackson is my favorite artist,
Big time.
And Breezy is also a big favorite of mine. And so, if I when I look at the similarities, I think that their performance, or of course they're amazing musicians and they make great music, but I think the fact that you are so willing to go and see them on stage, you're so willing to go and see them at a concert, makes me that's the biggest draw to them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you had any performances yet this year or prior last year at all? I know it's a little
Um,
difficult with the pandemic, but there's performances are pretty much back on.
yes, I had my most recent performance was a couple months ago. Actually, it's actually almost a half a year ago in December. Back home in Ghana. It was opening up for an artist called Jackie,
Mhm.
and so yeah, I opened up for her back in December, and it was an amazing experience. Getting to see how fans reacted to music of mine that they weren't aware of, but it gave me that confidence knowing that okay, if when it's time for my shows, people will be very excited for my shows because they weren't aware of my music, but they were very excited to listen to me because of how I was confident on that stage.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's something that you noticed once you came back to the States and you were making music here and you took back home that was different and something that you didn't even realize when you were back home making music that you took while being in the States?
Whoa, that's a good question.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
Never. Uh, a contrast in making music. Hmm. I've never thought about that. Um. So you're asking what is something that I did back home that I didn't do here, but and vice versa.
Mhm.
Hmm. I've I've never thought about that. I've never like looked back at. I would say. Hmm. I think the only different thing that I've done back home is perhaps um like work with bigger producers and start songs from scratch. Yeah, because here I don't really know of any. Usually my creation process here is going on YouTube, listening to beats that I like, and then with those beats I record on those beats. But when I'm back home, I usually because I know a lot of producers,
Mhm.
I usually start from scratch. Yeah, and people tend to like those songs better. Yeah, interestingly enough. Yeah, I'll say that's the only contrasting thing that I can think of at the moment. I've actually never thought about that. That's so interesting.
No, but it's
Yeah.
interesting. You brought forth what you have experienced, being back home, and then what you learn here and what you apply going back home. It's just
Mhm.
interesting. But Leslie, is there anything else you would love to let the audience know that we didn't cover here today that you want to let your listeners and fans know that you have on the way?
I would love my audience to go and listen to Good Things Take Time, and you find it under the name Lesléy. So It's Lesle with the accent Y, and you can find me on social media, every social media platform at Leslie which is LesLeyyness. That's Leslie LesleyYyness. Yeah,
You got it. Make sure you go follow him. Check out his music. It's available on all platforms. YouTube. Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a viral post. I've been posting recently, and so far I haven't gotten that traction yet, but I know it's gonna come very.
Eventually, it's great for artists. I know that's how you
It
get your
is.
footing because Instagram, it's all about if you're the big company out there, you're the big artist
Yeah,
already. The algorithms are all crazy. But TikTok, you have a
yeah.
chance 100%. Leslie, I want to thank you for coming on the show here today, man. I enjoyed chopping it up
Thank
here with
you.
you. Shout out to everyone, Andy Alexis and Richard Dean and everyone at Grunge Cake for setting this up. And, anytime that you need any promo, just let me know and I'll plug you
Of
into the
course,
show.
of course, of course. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of course, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Stay safe. All right.
You too. You
All
too,
right,
sir.
man. Peace out, man.
Peace out.